Hey everybody, I'm Dejan Kovacevic. He's Greg Macafee. He's Chris Halicke. We're from DK Pittsburgh Sports. We're at Acrisure Stadium, scene of the third loss in a row for the Steelers. The score was
29-10.
29-10. It's still up there on the board, and it's still ugly, and it's still ugly in a lot of ways, including the standings. Chris, this isn't a shrug it off kind of loss, is it?
No, it's not, because for the first time all season, the Steelers are not in first place in the AFC North, and so they've got to now rely on the Ravens to do something for them. They've got to lose a game. If they don't, Steelers, they're in the playoffs, but once again, we're talking about limping into the playoffs and going on the road and same old song and dance.
And at this point, I don't even know that the standings matter or finishing first in the AFC North matters as much as just straightening stuff out, because if you're playing like this and you're playing like you did the previous two games, you could be the AFC North champs and have the T-shirts and everything. It's not going to matter, is it?
Yeah, it's not going to matter at all. I mean, a lot of the guys in the locker room downstairs kind of mentioned the mistakes they're making. They're week 1, week 2 mistakes. They're not week 17, week 18 mistakes. It's things they got to get fixed in order, to have success in the playoffs. And it's been a consistent theme over the past 3
Now the defensive guys, continue to harp on mistakes and want to, and who's in this and who isn't, a lot like they did last week in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And are you buying any of that, or are you just seeing that they got schooled?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
I do think it's so. I think the overall, if you want an optimistic point of view here, and it's hard to even get it, is that the Steelers? No, I'm just saying.
No, we're out on that. You do that one yourself.
I'm just saying the Steelers, at any point this season, I never viewed them. I don't think any of us ever really viewed them as a legitimate Super Bowl contender. The Chiefs have always been a better team. The Bills have always been a better team. They've been at best a tier 2 team, and that's definitely where they are right now. And you might even say with the way they've played, especially during this stretch, which we all knew at the beginning of the season was going to be the most difficult stretch, that this was going to be the big test, because they got the Eagles, the Ravens, the Chiefs, and they dropped all 3 of them. They failed it miserably. They did. Winning one would have been a victory.
One thing about the 3 games in 11 days, because I have a feeling that's going to continue coming up more often than it should. Remember that the only game that was impacted by 3 games in 11 days, meaning being some sort of weird outlier, was this one.
Yeah.
And remember that the Chiefs had the exact same circumstance.
Yeah.
And then remember that the Steelers didn't get anybody hurt today. So the 3 games in 11 days isn't what caused this.
Yeah.
It's running into 2 football teams for sure that are better than them, and one that's at least they're equal in the Ravens, okay? And it's also about the Steelers not, in my view, not having done anywhere near enough to adjust to things that are plainly wrong with them on both sides of the ball. And we're going to start here with the offense.
It's just, first off, I think we can, if nobody was saying it before, I think everybody's saying it now, that this offense runs better when Jaylen Warren is the running back. I don't think that's saying that Najee Harris is a bad running back, but I just think that with the way Arthur Smith, the way his offense works, the way the rushing schemes work, the concepts, that Jaylen Warren is just a better back for that particular offense again.
He's just a better back. Why are we so afraid to say that?
He's been a flash in the pan for him the last couple of weeks for sure.
He's just a better back. And I understand the other guy's got traits. He's got durability. He's got some fourth quarter 15-round punch. I couldn't care less, man. The other 3 quarters count on that same scoreboard. Jaylen Warren. And how about throwing to Najee? No, man. How many times do you need to see it? You throw it to Jaylen, you get 20 yards out of it. Wow, what about the passing game?
The passing game, I mean, you saw Russ. He was under fire all day long today. I mean, we talked about it on the way out here, that when he's under pressure like that, he doesn't have any easy kind of toss-off, dump-offs to open guys in the flat or anything like that. It's a consistent problem. I mean, when he doesn't have those options, he's trying to tuck and run, and most of the time
I brought this up with the head coach, and he looked at me like I had 3 heads and pretended he didn't know what I was getting at. But these plays take so long to develop.
Yeah.
And you just, this isn't 10 years ago, and this isn't Seattle. You don't just randomly move a little bit in the pocket and then hope that things magically happen in front of you. These receivers don't come back to him. These schemes don't offer him an outlet. And he can't get out of that pocket when he's in trouble. He is not Justin Fields in that regard. It's driving me nuts with this offense. I see it as the main issue with it right now. Defensively, what you got?
Well, I was already skeptical about Patrick Mahomes against the Steelers basic cover 3, and we saw a few different times where they just gashed the Steelers up the seam.
They went zone on Travis Kelce. And then Tomlin says after the game that Kelce is a zone killer. Hello? This didn't just materialize today. He's played games on some pretty prominent stages.
Yeah.
But on the touchdown, I'm sorry.
No,
on the touchdown, no, the one down here. The one down here. On the touchdown, he sees Cam Sutton sitting in his zone, and I mean sitting. Okay? Yeah. Cam was as flat-footed as I am right now, and Kelce just says, "Hey, Cam, Merry Christmas." As he goes by, and Cam's like, "Hey, Merry Christmas to you as well, my friend." And he goes right around him, and he's standing there wide open. And you see Patrick Queen coming over going, "What? Yeah. What?"
Yeah, it's that kind of stuff. And I think, and I'm not saying because Queen or Alex Highsmith and nobody else in that locker room actually pointed out specific players. But I think it's plays like that. If I'm putting 2 and 2 together here, plays like that while you're hearing guys like Queen and Highsmith say, everybody's got to want it, because when stuff like that happens and there are breakdowns in coverage like that, that's the kind of stuff that happens when you're playing the best teams in the league. They are going to take advantage of that stuff. You can't have those kind of, as Mike Tomlin likes to put it, JV mistakes against the defending Super Bowl champions twice.
Yeah, I mean, I was in 2 or 3 scrums down there, all defensive players, all the guys were talking about everyone's got to do their job. Cam Hayward specifically said, if 10 guys do their job and the 11th one doesn't, it doesn't matter. It's over.
Yeah, and I'm going to go right back to this because Mahomes got rid of the ball
2.33 seconds.
2.33 seconds, and Wilson got rid of the ball
3.02.
Okay, now one of these quarterbacks had a great day today. Okay, and Mahomes is capable of doing both. Mahomes is because he's Mahomes. He's capable of extending plays. That's because he's capable of getting out of his pocket, which is he saw many times. It was something you talked about a lot before the game.
Yeah.
He got out. He made things happen either with his feet or with his arm. Mm-hmm. Wilson can't do that anymore. No. This is not a slump. This is not a rough, couple of games. No. He wasn't doing that even when the Steelers were winning. He wasn't able to get away from those guys. Hey, listen, we can pretend all day that there's an offensive line here. Okay?
Yeah.
We can do that. We can pretend that there are wide receivers and tight ends coming back to help him out. We can pretend that Arthur Smith has put safety valves into place. None of these things are actually true.
Yeah.
And that's the part that gets me is you're coaching or you're scheming or in Russ's case, you're performing the offense that you wish you had instead of the one you have.
Yeah, and that's where I think, and it's a little late in the season to do it now, this is the kind of stuff they needed to install all the way back before OTAs. This is the kind of stuff they need to get. You understand the kind of quarterback that Russell Wilson is. You understand that he's not going to play from the pocket all the time, that he's going to want to try, if the first, second read's not there, he's going to want to get out of the pocket. You got to make sure that there's a guy coming across on a drag or something that's there so that Russ, in case everything else breaks down, like Mahomes had a lot today, there's a dude 5 yards away from him. You can just go boop and just jump it right off. Take 3-4 yards, whatever, live to fight another down. At least it's not a negative play. That doesn't happen. It's either a horribly negative play, as we heard on Hard Knocks, for those of you who are watching, it's either a layup or it's a three-pointer. And there's nothing in between. And that it's hard for an offense to operate in today's NFL that way.
Well, we would apologize for ruining your Christmas, but you're the ones who pressed play. So this is totally on you. And the Steelers, they have an availability tomorrow. They have some other stuff going on, but it's going to be a while till they play again against the Bengals. And maybe both of those things are for the best because they could use some touchdowns, even if they're easy touchdowns. And heaven knows they could use a W,
Yeah,
just to change things around. Thanks so much for watching, and Merry Christmas to you.